Thinking back to the Xbox 360 feels like a distant dream, one that you can see, smell, and touch, but only in your mind, not actually in the physical world. It feels very comforting and cozy, like reminiscing with an old friend about great memories you had together. But the worst part about all of this is that we will never have it back. Although we can be happy with the memories we have stored in our brains forever, it's just never coming back, unfortunately. While there's many people out there whose favorite console may be the PlayStation 2 or the OG Xbox, or maybe even the PlayStation 3 or 4, my favorite is the Xbox 360. And I know I'm not the only one that thinks so fondly back to this near perfect console. To those of us who put numerous hours into gaming on this console, we all seem to have some sort of shared experiences. Like even very specific ones when it comes down to who uses what gamer picks and what games they play. Where the OG Xbox tried to be badass and unique with its powerful alien-like approach, the 360 was just charming, while at the same time having so much unique flair that we just have never seen before. And if you combine that with some of the most memorable games ever released and innovative features, you get this bad boy that packs a punch harder than Mike Tyson. Right when you booted up the console, you were hit with this. And then you got to this. I mean, look at this startup and look at this dashboard. Just the sheer charm on the startup. It gives you goosebumps. And then you compare that to the current one on Xbox, and it's not even close. And look at the dashboard. I mean, there were multiple iterations of the dashboards. Just look at this one. It's the little details like that that really added to the depth of this system. And the dashboards, like, holy shit, they were all beautiful. I think there were 3 or 4 different iterations of them, and each iteration was memorable and lovable. They were all easy to use and to navigate. You didn't have to Google how to get to certain menus. It was very intuitive. If I were to rank all of the dashboards the Xbox 360 had, my favorite would be the NXE dashboard. Second would go to the Blades, and third would go to the Metro dashboard. So like I said, my favorite was the NXE dashboard, but I really could just look back fondly at all 3 of these. The Metro was my least favorite, although I still enjoyed it, because this is the dashboard which really started the trend of Microsoft trying to Windowsify the Xbox dashboard. Once we got to this dashboard, it felt like all innovation was just thrown out the window. It's pretty much looked like some version of this, most of the time a worse version of this. Compare this old dashboard to this one right here. Look at this. Look how cluttered this looks. It's like it's trying to copy Windows, but it just looks completely uglier and way more unintuitive. On the old dashboards, like I said before, I felt I could easily navigate to any feature or function I wanted to without even knowing where it was. Meanwhile, on the newer dashboards, there is just so much garbage everywhere. I actually have to Google simple menu features, how to get there. Each Xbox 360 dashboard was unique in its own way, and we really haven't seen any innovations on the dashboard since then, which is really sad, honestly. Going along with the dashboards comes the social features, party chat, messaging your friends, checking a recent players tab. Sometimes you could just check someone's profile and you could just compare their achievements and gamer score to yours. Now at one point I know there was no party chat and everyone pretty much talked in game, although there was a private chat where you could talk to just one person. Pretty much everyone talked in game. Nobody really used that private chat. Eventually they added party chats, but even with that, some games forced you into game chat, and it made gaming feel way more social than it does today. In today's world, everyone's in their own Discord or not even talking because they're afraid to get banned by some AI for toxicity. And it was honestly great just hearing everyone talk in game. It was, I don't know, we just don't have that nowadays anymore. With this in mind, it was very easy to make friends online in this era. Like, who remembers the classic message to all friends and recent players? Like, that was a common occurrence that we all got. That just doesn't happen anymore. You could go on your friends list, see what everyone's playing. You can go to their profiles. You could compare your achievements and gamer score, see what you both had. This was completely new at the time, and it seemed like social features in general were very emphasized on this console. You were constantly talking to new people and different people every game. You never knew who you were going to run into. It was like the Wild West. You could be talking to some really chill person. You could be talking to someone screaming down their microphone.
Yum, 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 I eat dick all day. Yum, 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 I eat dick.
You wanna fight dick all day? Nigga, what a fucking homo.
Exactly.
And like I said again, it was so easy to make friends in this era. Everybody had some sort of online friend where you would just hop on and play whatever games you enjoyed playing together. It was not uncommon at all. In fact, it was very common. Online gaming was way more common during this era, with more people gaining access to the internet. Yes, there was online gaming on the OG Xbox and the PS2, but it was really with the Xbox 360, it really started to kick off. It felt like every game, even single player games, would have a multiplayer attached to it for you to mess around. They really just wanted everyone to be playing online. Also, the classic avatars and the classic gamer pics. Everyone remembers these. It's like YouTubers are having a resurgence of using these as their profile pics. Every person loved these profile pics. With each profile pic, you could differentiate what kind of games they played. They had the soccer ball. They probably like sports games. Did they use the guy chewing bubblegum? He was either really annoying or he was really good at video games. They used the monkey. They were probably racist. And just creating an avatar, it was honestly kind of stupid, but like it just added to that social aspect of the Xbox 360 and gave it its charm. Now, did I mention the games? The Xbox 360 had must-have game series like Halo, Gears of War, Fable, Forza, Mass Effect, BioShock. With the Xbox 360, you needed to own one to play these games, and you wanted to play these games or else you were missing out. I mean, really, Halo 3 and Halo Reach, Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, you missed out if you didn't have an Xbox. These great games felt like complete products rather than scams. The prices dropped rather than raised after a couple of years, and games nowadays, it's really just a store attached to a multiplayer game, whereas these games were games, and that's it. Graphically, a lot of these games still hold up today, and I don't understand game devs' obsession with just making games photorealistic. Why can't we just go back to the 360 era of graphics, but at like 4K resolution and 120 FPS? It would make games a lot easier and cheaper for them to make, and they could start pumping them out again. They wouldn't have to worry about photorealistic graphics and what system can run it. Like, it would be so easy, and it wouldn't take like 10 plus years to make a video game. They could release an entire series of games within 5 years. The controller was actually perfect. Of course, everyone has their own personal preference, but there really has been no innovation since the Xbox 360 controller. Most controllers have just been some form of it. The layout of the buttons and the sticks, the ergonomics of the controller, it felt amazing. They did improve on it, like little things with Xbox, the D-pad and the thumbsticks, and just making the buttons feel more crisp, but the overall shape has stayed exactly the same for the past 20 years because they perfected it. The limited edition consoles that came out at the time, they felt so unique. Like, they put no effort into these anymore. When you had these limited edition consoles, they were so unique, and you wanted one even if you already had an Xbox 360. They also had unique sounds when you opened and closed the disc tray and turned the Xbox on and off. They put so much little detail and charm into these. Oh, and also, I forgot to mention, they actually gave you a physical copy of the game instead of a digital code like they do nowadays, because they're cheap fucking bastards. A disc costs like, what, a penny? And the case costs like, what, at most 5 cents? They can't just throw that in there for you, but they did back in the day, and it was great. It felt like a complete product. Of course, there were some problems. There was the Red Ring of Death, which they did fix eventually, and they lost a lot of money on that. I feel like nowadays, if something like this happened, Microsoft would pretty much just tell you, nope, too bad. It sucks for you, just go buy another one. But back then, they actually fixed your Xbox, and eventually they made the slim version of the Xbox 360, and that completely fixed the issue. The Xbox 360 completely stole our hearts, and then promptly ran away with it, because unfortunately, Microsoft has left us in the dark since then, and they will never, ever be able to give it back. I always think back to my time gaming on the Xbox 360 because Nothing even comes close to it nowadays, and unfortunately, it will never be like that again. That's okay, because I still have those memories, and I can think back to them every now and then. I can also play the games that I enjoyed back from this era, and still enjoy them to this day, just as much, and if not, sometimes even more than I did back then. Of course, I'm playing them on a PC now, but it doesn't matter. To me, this was the greatest console to ever be released, and I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that would agree with me when I say that this little box right here was packed with so much charm and just completely stole our hearts.